Today's First Alert afternoon weather update is brought to you by Lockhart Roofing.
Good Friday afternoon, everyone. Meteorologist Stone Schaefer here for our Friday First Alert weather live stream. Doing a little bit earlier today. We'll try to get some information, some of the newest data that we have for that rain chance that we're seeing even falling right now into this afternoon and into this evening. I want to thank everyone for joining me here today. As always, if you have any questions, head over to our Facebook page or YouTube channel at WNEM TV5 News. I do try to answer any of the questions you might have about our weather. I do apologize if I miss your question. I don't always get the chance to look over there, but I do try my best to look over to our Facebook chat and YouTube chats. So we're going to start off today looking outside. This is our downtown Saginaw camera where actually there's been a pretty nice trend here over the last hour. There was some light cloud cover wanting to move itself in, but even now we're starting to see more of that blue sky across the camera. So definitely have some cloud cover moving in, but luckily in Saginaw right now, Flint, maybe not the most overcast yet. We are going to take a look to Birch Run where again you are seeing maybe some more blue than what we were seeing an hour to an hour and a half ago. So hopefully that we continue that trend. I will say Sky Tracker isn't that promising if you're someone that's looking for some sun. And then we look out towards US 10 where definitely some more cloud cover on that camera right now. Another thing you notice definitely at the bottom of your screen is those flags blowing in the wind. Again, we've been looking at the forecast showing winds increasing through this afternoon. We're definitely already seeing that sign with our flags. If you've been outdoors, you've definitely noticed that cloud cover increasing. I did though want to take a look at Sky Tracker right now, because what we are seeing is, again, those isolated rain chances trying to move through our northern counties, just sort of north of Bay City, south of Standish, into Ogama County, and then out towards Clare is another area that's seeing some of these isolated showers. If you live up there to the north, write in our chat if you've seen any rain. Again, this is an area we're sort of in that sort of setup that radar might be picking up on rain. Doesn't always mean that it's falling to the ground. So if you're living in an area that you're seeing with this green, I'll actually zoom in just a little bit more just to show you where we're seeing the most rain. So again, West Branch, Rose City, out to Lake George, Gladwin, you'll probably get some rain. Edenville, definitely could. Southern Gladwin County. I think Standish, you might be an area that sees some light rain here over the next probably hour. So let me know if you've seen some rain, because again, may not always reach the ground just because we're picking it up. Could be very high in the atmosphere, and so it just doesn't reach the ground. It evaporates before it gets there. Looking at sort of zooming out our Sky Tracker, what we see is there is heavier cloud cover trying to roll in, especially over Lake Michigan. That's going to be cloud cover that tries to move east-southeast here over the next couple of hours. So if you're looking for some sunshine, I'd get outdoors right now because that's going to be your best chance. Later in the day, we will have possibly overcast skies. I don't think it's going to be that heavy of cloud cover, but definitely more clouds than what we're seeing right now. When we look at our temperatures across this afternoon, actually I want to load up temperatures into right now. Let's see if I can get that loaded for you. I do apologize. Sometimes you get all over the place when you're setting up our live streams. And temperatures right now are from the lower 50s to the north, so you can see the biggest difference from the north to the south. If you live in the south, Saginaw, Flint, you're at 63, you're at 60. You've had some more sunshine that's helped you warm up just a little bit more through this afternoon. And then you look up to the north, Holton Lake at 50, West Branch 55, Gladwin at 57. Those areas, a little bit more cloud cover, just a little bit cooler here in this early afternoon. Want to say hello to Caleb and Tristan. Hopefully you guys are having a pretty wonderful Friday, as we've had some pretty nice weather. Just cold this morning for anyone that was out there. Obviously had frost advisories for our southern counties. Actually, let me look real quick just to see if they have signaled the end of growing season. Doesn't look like they have yet. The National Weather Services in Grand Rapids or Detroit. The National Weather Service in Gaylord actually signaled the end of growing season last night. So that means no more frost advisories for our northern counties. Detroit and Grand Rapids probably follow suit into this weekend. If they don't, we may get one more day into next week where we could see some frost advisories. Now, dew points, not much of a factor for this afternoon, lower 40s. Even with that rain chance, we're pretty dry throughout the atmosphere. So I don't anticipate dew points to rise that much, even with rain. We could get lower 50s. That's going to feel sticky at times, it's sticky to some, but definitely not that much. We're really not that warm. Usually that colder air is a little bit drier. Even through this weekend when we warm up a little bit, it doesn't look like dew points are going to rise that much. Now, looking at our winds, it's mostly from the south-southwest, but they've definitely picked up. If you watched Wake Up this morning, winds were calm, at most 5 miles per hour. With that low pressure system starting to creep a little bit closer right now, winds are starting to pick up. We're seeing that pressure gradient tighten up just a little bit, and that's picking up our winds. We're at 10 to 15 miles per hour, maybe 10 to 20 miles per hour. And I do want to mention as well that temperature differences can also cause our winds to pick up. So maybe a little bit cooler to the north, helping our winds pick up from the south. I want to see if we can see exactly here on this map where that low's at. So it's just north of us, just up there in Canada. I'll point it out. This is where that low pressure system is sitting. That's looking to sort of track to the south-southeast here over the next couple hours. Should be over Lake Michigan and Lake Huron, sort of northern portions of Michigan as we get to 4, 5, and 6 p.m. But that's where that low is at. In terms of the cold front, let me see if I can see where that's at. If I had to take a guess, that cold front is right about here where we see that change in wind direction. So that's also going to start to move across the state. I think probably right around the same time, 5, 6 p.m. That's what's going to bring us our rain chance that we do see this afternoon. So Saginaw planner for this afternoon, rain chances, I think we'll start earlier than 9 p.m. I know the planner is showing 9, but I think we could see isolated chances out towards 127 as early as 6 p.m., then going through about 9 to 10 p.m. And actually, we're looked to be dry for most of the sort of the midnight time frame, and that's because we'll actually be in the dry slot of that low pressure system as it moves through the region. So we'll keep an eye on some wraparound rain, but after about 10 p.m., our rain chances look to fall off up until about 7 or 8 a.m. So if you have late night plans tonight, or maybe just want to be outdoors, maybe you're camping, past 10 p.m., I think you'll be pretty dry across much of the state. Now, before I take a break, I always like to quickly look at our weekend planner. I am holding on to isolated rain chances throughout much of Saturday morning into Saturday afternoon. It wouldn't surprise me if we get our afternoon model runs if the First Alert Weather team does end up taking that off this afternoon. Diane Phillips will be in with our afternoon shows. It wouldn't surprise me if we end up taking that 20% away, as it does appear that low pressure system is going to trek a little bit farther east. That would eliminate that morning rain chance and give us more sunshine possibly, as high pressure looks to follow that low for our Saturday. And we can see the influence of that high pressure on Sunday with mostly sunny skies and temperatures in the mid to upper 60s. So a little bit warmer, a little bit more sunshine as we get through Sunday. So I do have to take a quick break. Once I get back from that break, I'm going to be looking at some of the Friday night lights forecasts that we have going on across the region. I'll have updates on temperatures for the next couple of days, and then just more on that rain chance that we have this afternoon. So stay right here. I'll be right back. Hopefully have more updates for your location. Well, welcome back, everyone. Meteorologist Stone Schaefer here. Again, as always, I want to thank everyone for joining me here today for our Friday afternoon First Alert Weather live stream. We are going to take a look at some of those Friday Night Lights forecasts. Obviously, we have a bunch of games going on. I only selected a few. There's not much difference across our forecast for tonight's games, but we're going to start off with our game of the week, Millington versus the Lakers. Kickoff at 7 p.m. Again, this could be an area you're far enough to the east there on the east side of the bay that I think that rain chance may come a little bit later into the afternoon/evening. Temperatures at kickoff will be in the lower 60s. You'll drop to the 50s pretty quickly. Obviously, two teams looking to continue their winning ways, with Millington being at 5-1 and the Lakers at 6-0. So hopefully, obviously, both teams looking to get into that win column. Lakers don't want to get in that loss column quite yet. But again, if you're going out to their Friday Night Lights games this afternoon/this evening, you may want to bring the umbrella. You're going to want to bring a poncho, maybe a towel to wipe off the seats. If you are in an area that gets rain a little bit earlier in the time frame. And you'll also be dealing with windier conditions. It's a southwest wind at 10 to 20. I'm not counting out gusts up to 25 miles per hour. So I think we've been pretty lucky over the last couple of weeks. We're in week 7. I think this is the first week of the season that it's been like, yeah, the weather, it's not so nice as you're getting out there, but I'd imagine still we're going to see a lot of packed stands as we get across our Friday Night Lights games. Another game I'm going to quickly highlight here is John Glenn versus Freeland. Both teams, again, having pretty good seasons. Pretty similar forecast. Rain chances probably start around 7:38, could be earlier in Freeland, but looks like you'll have isolated showers as a possibility as we get through our afternoon and into our evening. A majority of these games, very similar forecast. Obviously, you're starting in the 60s, may stay in the 60s a little bit longer in an area like Freeland for tonight. And again, just a southwest wind 5 to 15. This may be behind the front, so wind's just a little bit calmer as we get through the game. A third game, we want to highlight Swartz Creek versus Flushing. Going to be an area that may end up avoiding some of that rain a little bit farther south. Temperatures in the 60s for kickoff through about halftime. Could drop or should drop into the upper 50s through the end of the game. This will be an area that sees a southwest wind 5 to 10. But because you'll be a little bit later in that cold front's life, you could still see gusts, I think, 20 to 25 miles per hour through this afternoon for this game. And then the final game I want to highlight for tonight, Midland Dow versus Bay City Central. Both teams obviously going to be there in Bay City. Isolated showers, definitely a possibility there. So it's just going to be about timing. Some areas you may start the game dry. Some other areas you may see an isolated shower. I think if you're going to any of the games up to the north, those are going to be the areas that you definitely have the best chances of seeing rain earlier in the game than those areas down to the south. You're talking about Flint, Genesee County, Shiawassee County. I had to see who Owasso's playing, those schools down there, Perry, Morris. If you're going to games there, Durand, obviously. If you're at home, I'd have to look at the schedule. Don't have it off the top of my head. And then Lapeer County, also an area that if you're going to one of those games, you may get lucky at kickoff. It's later in the game that you may have the chance to have some isolated rain. And I also want to highlight, it's not going to be downpours. It's going to be sort of a light rain. We just lacking some moisture in the atmosphere right now. So I think that's always a positive. It's sort of an annoyance, I know, because it's just going to be enough rain where I think it does make things wet, but you could be looking at some mist. And again, you're adding those winds at times through the day. Now, as always, I do like to highlight some of the games we have over the weekend with our college teams in the area. And the first game I'm going to highlight is UCLA. They are traveling into Spartan Stadium to play Michigan State. Kickoff at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Temperatures will be in the 50s at kickoff, 40s for anyone that is going to be going down there to East Lansing to tailgate, and then you'll have temperatures by the end of the game into the lower 60s. I do think there's going to be a chance cloud cover leaves a little bit earlier tomorrow, so you may actually get some sunshine at times. I think overcast skies like our symbols are showing here may be a little bit overdoing it in terms of that cloud cover. But again, so far it looks like you should stay dry. Another team playing at home this weekend is Northwood playing Lake Erie, the Storm. Luckily, no storms rolling into town this weekend. Again, you will have some sun at times, kickoff at noon as well. temperatures upper 50s. And then another game that is in the area, Saginaw Valley State versus Roosevelt. It's just going to be based on when that low pressure is located. It may be far enough east that you don't see the rain chance at 1 p.m. I'm still going to just mention it's a very isolated chance. You may end up having a dry game for Saginaw Valley State tomorrow if you are heading that way. In terms of other teams, Western and Eastern both have home games. So if you want to travel out to the west or down to the south, you definitely have that possibility. Western plays. Actually, I don't know who Western plays. I know one of them plays Northern Illinois, and one of them plays Ball State. I don't know which one is which. Obviously, if you want to go head out, though, they're both at home. Central, they're off this week. They have a bye week. They'll be back next week versus Bowling Green for another home game. So looking forward to that. And then University of Michigan, they're away, traveling to the West Coast. So Michigan State, Michigan sort of flip-flop opponents here. Michigan State gets to stay home versus UCLA, and then Michigan, they get to travel out west to play USC. You probably get some nicer weather there in California. Usually is just a little bit nicer. Probably going to be about 70s and sunny. I haven't looked at their forecast, but it doesn't change very much. So hopefully for them, if you're a Michigan fan, they get to have some nice weather. Maybe you're traveling out there. You'll have a pretty nice weather for that game. But I do have to take quickly another break here. Once I come back from that break, we'll be looking at that rain chance later tonight and just having more details about what we could see with that rain and then highs for the weekend. So make sure you're staying right here. Well, welcome back, everyone. Meteorologist Stone Schaefer here, live for our Friday First Alert Weather live stream. Again, as always, thank you for joining me here today. We are going to start this off looking at our drought monitor for today. This was updated obviously yesterday morning. Not much change. We continue to see that severe drought from just west of Bad Axe all the way west to Lake Michigan. This includes Midland, Bay City, Saginaw, Mount Pleasant, Elma, and obviously a lot more cities. There was one area of improvement for yesterday's update. If you looked at last week's, you probably don't notice it. It was a very small update, but there was some improvement. It's down here. I'm going to point it out. And so maybe I won't point out. Just in southwest Saginaw County, northwest Genesee County, or southeast Saginaw County, northwest Genesee County, getting my directions a little bit everywhere there. They improved. They went from moderate to abnormal. We did have some rain move through, was that late last week, so that helped just a little bit. We need more. We get some more tonight. I don't know how much it's going to help our drought. Hopefully we can continue to see improvement and see some more rain here over the next couple of weeks. Lows tonight, we're going to be back into the 40s. It's going to be lower 40s for most. There will be a few upper 40s and 50s possible along our shoreline cities. Warm enough, we're going to avoid frost. That's always a good sign after we've had 3 days here of frost advisories and freeze warnings for our northern counties. We get to our highs for tomorrow, and again, we're right back into those mid to lower 60s. Pretty similar across the board for our Saturday. Sunday warm up just a little bit more. And again, just looking at wind gusts through the rest of today, definitely looking to be breezy through this afternoon. This is at 4 p.m. A southwest wind at 15 to 20, maybe 15 to 30 miles per hour. So if you're going to be out and about around 4 p.m., you're definitely going to notice that wind out there, especially out towards 127, Mount Pleasant, Clare, Holton Lake, Gladwin, West Branch. Those areas, just a little bit stronger winds as we get through this afternoon. Now, we're going to look at our rain chances for tonight. Again, there's this isolated chance through about, I'd say, 2:30, 3 p.m. Then we're dry for 3, 4, I'd say 5, but even some areas out west could see this rain at 5, out towards 127, could start to see the first signs of that cold front. It's after that we start to see more consistent development of showers. Now again, they're not going to be it's not going to be the heaviest rainfall. We are lacking some moisture in the atmosphere, but it's enough to be an annoyance through this afternoon. And there will be some areas that could get some heavy rainfall, but for the most part, it's a light, consistent rain as this sort of linear setup moves itself through. That will move through about 9 p.m. And then again, we start to dry off. We get clear skies at times. This is that dry slot of the low pressure system that's out sort of east of all of Michigan. And I will say the biggest update from the newest data that we got right around noon was that low pressure system is wanting to trek to the east. If that continues to be the case, we may not see any isolated rain chances tomorrow. It will be something that we'll keep an eye out for our next round of forecasted model runs. That will come out right around 3:30, 4:30. We'll have that update at our 4 p.m. newscast. Again, meteorologist Diane Phillips will be here to cover that update. But it's starting to become maybe common across the models. So another model I want to look at, this is the HRRR. This model shows a pretty similar outlook. Isolated rain chances, dry through about 4 to 5 p.m., and then seeing more of a linear setup through our evening and through about 9 p.m. Before it moves out, we dry off, and then we see that rain chance stay out to our east. And we'll take another look at another weather model. This is the NAM, again, shows rain chances moving in maybe a little bit earlier, but that linear setup right around 5 to 6 p.m., and then moving out by midnight, being dry through the night. And then the one difference with this model for the next couple of days is it does have that low a little bit closer to Michigan, and that would give us some wraparound rain chances into tomorrow morning. It's nothing that's going to go ruin your day, but definitely could make things a little wetter as we get through mid-afternoon. And again, we'll get more model data this afternoon. We'll keep you up to date. The First Alert Weather Team will be monitoring any rain chances. We don't expect much in terms of thunderstorms. I'm not going to say we couldn't hear rumble of thunder, especially as that cold front moves in, but for the most part, should be just rain. It will be gusty at times as that low pressure system does pick up our winds across the state. Looking towards the next 7 days on our 7-day forecast, 60s for the next 7 days. There will be a few 70s possible Monday and Tuesday, especially to the south. If we can get our typical setup, I think it will be mid-60s to the north, getting that upper 60s through Bay City and Saginaw and Midland, and then possibly a few 70s down to the south. So that is what we're seeing for Monday and Tuesday. Obviously, you're looking at maybe a drier forecast now through next week with partly cloudy skies. A little bit more cloud cover next week than what we had this week. I think that high pressure system is not as strong next week as what we've been seeing over the last really 2-3 weeks here. So that's a good sign. Maybe we can get some rain chances. I know earlier in the week there was a chance Tuesday and Wednesday that's sort of backed off now. But I think there's still going to be that possibility that sort of comes back by the end of the week. So we'll obviously be keeping you up to date through the weekend. We'll have our live streams of our 6 p.m. newscast on both Saturday and Sunday, so make sure you tune into that. As always, you can check out our Facebook and YouTube channels at WNEM TV5 News. You can also watch us on Apple and Roku TV. And if you want to get more information, make sure you scan that QR code that's right below me. That will help you download the First Alert Weather app, where we keep that up to date all the time with all the latest on your local weather. So I want to thank everyone for joining me here on this Friday. I hope everyone has a wonderful rest of your day and has a wonderful rest of your weekend. Hopefully you can enjoy and hopefully avoid the rain if we do get any consistent rain here over the next couple of days.
Thank you for joining us. Today's stream has been brought to you by Lockhart Roofing.